Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this morning. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. If you like the video, please come in and share it. We'll surely appreciate it here at 100 Yards Football. Well, over the course of a year, we've been doing football videos throughout the week. We've been covering college, the NFL, high school. We've had a lot of great people that came on from a football perspective, then also from a basketball perspective. But I said to myself, if I was going to ever do a video outside them two sports, boxing be the next one. And the one gentleman that I said I'd do a video on is my hero, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, by the way of Louisville, Kentucky. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. We surely appreciate it here at 100 Yards Football. Man, it's so blessed today to be talking about this man right here. When you look up on the screen, you see boxing legend. It's no one other and better that I consider the greatest boxer of all time. Whether any division, you can talk about Floyd Mayweather Jr. right now. You can talk about Sugar Ray Leonard. You can talk about Rocky Marciano, Joe Louis. But this young man right here is the special of all special. And this is a guy that really uplifted my life as a young man. When I was born in July of 1960, he was the first hero I had in any sports. And I'm a big-time football fan. But not only is this guy real special to my heart, but he's special to my family. My father, Chester Turner, is really not an avid football fan as me. But when you're talking about sports legends, my father loved this man here. What more can I say? I'm going to start in 1960, the 1960 Olympics that started August the 25th, 1960. I was only about a month old. And you look at that 1960 Olympics, you had the USA that had the great basketball team. You had on that basketball team, you had Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Jerry Lucas, and they went on to fame. Then you had the great track and field. You had the female Wilma Rudolph, great love, much blessings at Tennessee State University. She won 3 gold medals. And then you had Rayford Johnson, who won the decathlon, UCLA's finest. Well, this young man was a light heavyweight champion, and a lot of people didn't even really look to him. That 1960 Olympics, because it was all about the Olympic basketball team. But boy, once he finished and won that gold medal, he took boxing to heights that was ever seen. I'm going to start with the grade report with the great Muhammad Ali. When you're talking about grade reports, you got to talk about his physical skills, A+, 6'3", 210 pounds. Fast hands, A+. Great chin, can take a blow of all the great ones, A+. A will to win, A+. A will to compete, A+. Mental tools, A+. Quickness and mobility, A+. That's what made him great with his skill set. Then I'm going to start with several things in the boxing game that made him so fantastic. A fighting champion. And this is after he had stayed out of the game for 3.5 years. From 1970 to 1975, he fought 22 times. The competition in the 70s, he fought Kenny Norton Jr., Joe Frazier, Jerry Quarry, Oscar Bonavena, Jimmy Ellis, Ron Lyle, Ernie Shavers. Special, man. Then in the 60s, coming up to his younger ranks, I don't want to leave that out. Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson, Archie Moore, a very upcoming young boxer by the name of Doug Jones, and Henry Cooper, who was a very outstanding boxer over there in England. Man, it gets more special after this. Then what made him special, he was a people's champion, a true world champion. He was known in Japan, the Philippines, Zaire, Switzerland. They loved him all over the world. The next thing that makes him great, February the 25th, 1964. I was 4 years old. watching them on black and white on TVS network with my father and a lot of my uncles that was at the house at that time. And boy, he fought a guy, Sonny Liston, that everybody was saying the king of all kings, the monster, a tremendous reputation, who had knocked Floyd Patterson out back to back in years preceding. And Sonny Liston was also a guy that was known to be a mob guy. He was the enforcer. This young man was 7-1 underdogs. And this is when my love started to come out for this guy. And boy, he put on the show for 7 rounds. And all I can see was when afterwards he was shuffling. And then he went crazy in the ring. And then he got on the mic and said, I shook up the world. You didn't only shook up the world, but you shook up a race, the African-American race. And boy, that's where it started. Then I called him the Louisville Lip. He was the guy that was loud. He was boastful. He was braggadocious. But I'm going to say 2 words here. Black pride. Then the next occurrence that makes him great in my book, 1974. He's 32 years old. Tremendous underdog against another monster out of Houston, Texas, by the name of George Foreman, who had destroyed Kenny Norton Jr. and Joe Frazier. But on that night, October the 3rd of 1974 in Zaire, Africa, this when my life changed. I went to the fight in Memphis, Tennessee, my hometown, in 901. And my father took me to see the fight on closed circuit TV at this place called the Malco Theater on Court Avenue. And I'm going to tell you, I was 14 years old in the 9th grade, going to Sherwood Junior High. And that's probably the best evening of my life, being with my father, who I looked up to. I get teary-eyed when I talk about this. We walk into that Malco Theater, and it's almost 4,500 fans. Now, listen to what I'm saying. The place only seats 2,700. It's 1,800 standing on, and we're watching on closed circuit TV. In the pregame fights, you got Jim Brown there, you got Don King, you got all these celebrities in Zaire. But when I was looking around the venue, I saw all these black guys, African Americans. It was no females in the audience. I'm talking about 4,500 guys, hardworking guys that was about that life, guys that was working at Firestone in Memphis, guys that was working at John Deere in Memphis, guys that was working at the post office. And their eyes were all focused on Ali and my father, who at the time owned 3 dry cleaners. And man, all they was saying was, Ali, 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 Ali. And I said, man, I've never seen anything in my life. Well, you know the ending. He came running out of the gates before 120,000 over there in the soccer stadium in Zaire. And he knocked George Foreman out in the 8th round. And when he knocked Foreman out, that Malco Theater on 210 Court Avenue in Memphis, Tennessee, my father jumped about, and he doesn't even know that I don't even tell this story. He jumped about 15 feet off the ground. And all these other black males just jumped and fell on the ground and started cheering and crying. It was something special, man. That's something in my life that I'm never gonna forget. That what made that man so great. And then finally, what takes it for me, 2 major points. His return to the boxing game. He left the boxing game from 1967 to 1970. He refused to go in the military. And he gave up millions of dollars only because he wanted civil rights and rights for his people. That's all he wanted in the 60s. And he was willing to give that up and be broke because of his people, man. And today I'm so proud to be an African American because what he did, I was only 7 years old. He could have did like not calling no names, everybody else. But he stood for something. He stayed out of the game for 3.5 years and then came back. He wasn't himself, but he was still able to come back and capture the world championship in the most toughest division. Let me tell you the fighters that was in the division again that he fought. Jimmy Young, Jimmy Ellis, Ron Lau, Ernie Shavers, George Foreman, Kenny Norton. He fought them all, brother. Jerry Quarry. And he coming back winning the title at 32 years old. That's something that's never going to be ever equal in a boxing game. Let me bring up a point. Suppose the great GOAT that's playing in the NFL, Tom Brady, took 3.5 years off the game. Could he come back at a high level? Could the great Michael Jordan, even though he stepped away for 2 years, could he come back in 3.5 years? Could the great Babe Ruth stepped away from baseball in 3.5 years and came back and been great? Could the great Ty Cobb stepped away from the game for 3.5 years and come back great? That's 3 answers I'm going to say. No, no, no. We're never going to see another guy like this, another athlete. And it's something about Muhammad Ali that I'm in my video today. He was a man of conviction and faith, but he was a man of pride, freedom, strength, and self-identification. He was nobody's tool. And that's why I enjoy my life at 60 years old. When I read about him, it just brings so much pride and joy me being an African American talking sports. Y'all don't even know. So I'm going to end the video today. The 901, Vincent, Tennessee. It's like the great James Brown. With your bad self. Say it loud, I'm black and out proud. Much love to the greatest individual on any sports level, the great Muhammad Ali. And I hope today, all the athletes that's playing in the NBA, all the athletes that's playing in the NFL, all the athletes that playing in Major League Baseball, please stand up and give this man his due. He did a lot for me in the 60s, of me looking up to somebody in the sports world. And not only in the sports world, from a political standpoint. Remember, he was nobody's tool. Pride, freedom, strength, and self-identification. I'd like to say thank you for watching the video here today on 100 Yards of Football. I'm Vincent Turner, and y'all have a phenomenal, blessed week. And also, I'd like to give kudos to my producer, Mr. Logan Landers. Y'all be blessed today.